Hey there, this is Elena with Black Sheep 303 Creative, and today's project is a very simple card that offers a great result for not too much effort. And you start off making an ombre background using distress ink. So I have an A2 sized piece of Nina Solar White cardstock, and I'm using 4 colors of distress ink. I have Chip Sapphire, Blueprint Sketch, Salty Ocean, and Tumbled Glass. So I'm starting off with Tumbled Glass, which is the lightest shade, and I'm inking up my little mini blending tool and then going from the craft sheet onto the cardstock using a circular blending motion. My tip for this is to use a very light hand when you're doing this, and you need some patience, especially with the lighter colors of distress ink. It takes a while to build up enough layers to get to the color that you want. And I tend to get a little impatient and start getting heavier on the, as you can see there on the edges, I'm getting heavier with my hand, and it winds up giving you kind of like blotchier sections. Now I have a way of blending it back out that sort of fixes that problem. But I think if you can be more patient than I am and use a lighter hand and just do layer upon layer upon layer of color, you will have a smoother blend from the beginning than what I do. Now, to blend it out, what I'm doing here is like I've got the Chip Sapphire and I'm blending it onto the cardstock, and then I'm going to blend it over the Blueprint Sketch, which is right below it. And then I'm going back to the Blueprint Sketch and blending back over that part where they meet, the 2 colors meet. And again, I'm doing it here with the Salty Ocean. So I'm blending back over where it meets the Blueprint Sketch and into the Tumbled Glass. And then here I'm blending the Tumbled Glass back over the Salty Ocean. That helps smooth out the blend really, really nicely and creates a very nice gradation of color. Now, the little blossoms that fall out of this background die are what I'm using here, along with a few others that I cut from an additional die, although I don't think I really needed them. I think the ones that fall out of the die, the background die, work just fine. And I'm taking the rounded end of my Spellbinders Tool-in-One, and I'm just like running it in a circular motion into the center to get get the petals to pop up and create a little bit of a 3D effect on those tiny little blossoms. To add some centers to the little blossoms, I'm using squeezed lemonade and mustard seed and a Q-tip. So I'm inking up my Q-tip with squeezed lemonade, and I'm going to take it into the middle of the little blossoms, and using kind of like a little bit of a tapping circular motion, I'm creating, I don't know, like a medium-sized center in these blossoms. I do definitely want to leave them mostly white, but I want to get that color into the center. And then for a little bit of added dimension, I'm putting some mustard seed on top, but in a much smaller circle, just right into the middle. And it does create some nice depth, although the effect is very, very subtle, just to warn you. And of course, because I cannot not have, or I have to have glitter, I had to add some Nuvo glitter drops in Golden Sunset to the very, very insides, little middles of my Dogwood blossoms, and it is a very nice effect. So here's the background die that I use. It's Falling Dogwood Blossoms from Poppy Stamps, and here's the additional one, Dogwood Blossoms from Poppy Stamps. As I mentioned, I don't think you need that second one. I think the background die is enough, and you can get enough of the little blossoms out of what falls out to make the whole card work. Now for my greeting, I'm turning this into a sympathy card, and I am stamping it in Versamark ink. I did use my anti-static pouch on the paper first. And now I am coating it in Simon Says Stamps Rose Gold embossing powder, which is one of my favorite metallics, and just heat setting that with my heat gun. Now you could easily turn this card into a different kind of card. I mean, I made a sympathy card, but I think especially if you change the background color of the ombre, it could easily be a wedding card. It could be a birthday card, Mother's Day, baby even. I mean, I think there's a lot of possibilities with this design, if I do say so myself. Now, to adhere the whole thing down, I used a lot of Elizabeth Craft Designs 3mm adhesive tape, which is one of my favorites because it's so skinny. And then I used ATG gun on the outer edges and a little bit of glue pen right along those bits that you see right there that kind of go off the edge, because I wanted to make sure I had a really good adherence between the background ombre and the paper with those little tiny pieces. To glue down my blossoms, I have them arranged the way I want them, and I am using Ranger Multimedia Matte Adhesive, and this is the same technique I use for sequins. So I've got them where I want them, and I'm picking them up with my tweezers and then just dipping them into the adhesive and then setting them back down. And this is the easiest technique for me. I am very picky about placement of this kind of thing, so I need to have a technique that's fairly easy to do and allows me to put it back basically exactly where I had it, so that my pickiness is happy in the end. And that is the project. I did adhere the entire panel down to a top folding A2 sized white cardstock card base. And there's a good close-up of those centers of those little blossoms as well as the ombre effect. So I hope you like this. If you are new to Distress Inks, I think that doing the ombre bend is a great way to start. It gets you some practice and kind of takes away some of the intimidation factor that can be there with distress blending. Thanks so much. There is a video or a supply list linked in the video description below and on my blog. If you liked the video, I would be super happy if you gave me a thumbs up. I'd love to get a comment from you. And if you haven't subscribed yet, it's time you subscribe. Thanks so much. Have a great day.